Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here, and today's video is on Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. This story takes place in 232 BBY, which is the same year as Starlight Part 1 Go Together. The price for this book is $15. This video is going to only be on Part 1 of this book, The Great Disaster. Whenever a book splits up its book into parts, I like doing a separate video for each part. So Part 1, The Great Disaster. Chapter 1. Pretty much every chapter gives a little bit of background of to where and when exactly it's taken place. So Chapter 1 is in hyperspace on the Legacy Run. 3 hours to impact. So this book takes place in the same exact time period as the last novel. We just get to see more of what happened from other perspectives. The captain of the Legacy Run is Hedda Cassett. Her lieutenant is Jerry Brown. Hedda had 30 years of military experience, so she ran the Legacy Run with the same efficiency of a military vessel. Hedda went on a round, talking to those traveling on her ship, including a child, Serge, and his friends. When Hedda returned to the bridge, an alarm started sounding, and the hyperspace around them had a hint of red. The navigator, Cadet Kalwar, informed her that the alarm was coming from the Navicomp. There was something in the hyperlane, and they are due to hit it in 10 seconds. Hedda took control of the Legacy Run, steering it out of the way of the collision. This move overstressed the Legacy Run, which was over a century old. The Legacy Run began tearing apart. Hedda closed all of the compartments for the travelers, hoping it would save some of their lives. The bridge burst open, and the entire crew, including Captain Hedda, had died. Chapter 2, The Outer Rim in the Hetzal system. 2.5 hours to impact. Mervyn Getter and Vel Karan were scan techs on a station in the Hetzal system. They tracked ships coming and going through the system. Most were scheduled beforehand. Dozens of somethings came up on the radar, going at nearly light speed, heading for the planets and moons in the system. One hit a satellite, which destroyed the satellite. Mervyn and Vel sent out a system-wide alert. As soon as they finished sending the alert, their monitoring system was hit, killing them both. Chapter 3, Aguirre City, Hetzal Prime. 2 hours to impact. Minister Eka and Counselor Dawn are discussing what could have caused the alert, as no clarification was given from the monitoring station. Dawn said they believe the monitoring station has been destroyed. Zaffa, another advisor, said the satellites are going down one by one. A mining rig has also been destroyed. The chief of security, Borda, does not know what is destroying things in space. Another advisor, Kevin Tarr, working with the Ministry of Technology, gave up a possible explanation for what was happening. Eka gave a system-wide evacuation message. Although he knows not everyone will be able to get off the planets and moons before the inevitable explosion, he wants to save as many people as he can. Eka also sent a message to Coruscant to inform them of what is happening. Eka told his advisors to try and get off-world. He is going to stay to broadcast to the people and try to keep some calm. None of his advisors have gotten up from their seats yet. People began evacuating. Some captains overtaxed their ships by overfilling them. This would cause the ship to explode, killing all inside. Some of the people ignored the message, thinking it was untrue. Others simply didn't have a way off the planet and didn't know how to acquire one. Tar relayed a message to Eka. Avar Kriss, a Jedi Knight, said help is on the way. Chapter 4, Republic Emissary Class Cruiser, Third Horizon. 90 minutes to impact. The Republic ship Third Horizon arrived in the Hetzal system. Avar Kriss was the captain of the ship on this mission. Turns out that was slightly wrong. She was just in charge of the mission. Admiral Kronara, who was the captain of the ship, was still there. Smaller ships, piloted by Jedi and Republic soldiers, went out into the system from the Third Horizon's hangars. Chapter 5, Hetzal Prime in orbit. 80 minutes to impact. Bel Zettifar, a Padawan, and his master Loden Greatstorm were headed for Hetzal Prime to help however they can. They came over in a state with a spaceship in the yard. Armed guards on top of a wall were keeping people away from the ship. Bell and Loden went to investigate. Chapter 6. Hetzal System, Republic Long Beam Aurora 9. 75 minutes to impact. Captain Bright and Officer Inman of Longbeam Aurora 9 attempting to shoot down some of the things heading towards the planets. Another member of Aurora 9's crew was Ensign Peoples. Aurora 9's target was an object heading towards a solar array with 7 crew trapped on board. Aurora 9's missiles all missed the object as it was moving too fast to hit. The object hit the solar array, bursting it into pieces. Bright said they are going to dock and save anyone who survived the impact before the whole station explodes. Chapter 7. Hetzal System, Above the Fruited Moon. 70 minutes to impact. It is worrying that all these tiny impacts have happened so far does not even account for the actual impact. Also, in the previous book, the incident was the Legacy Run crash. In this book's perspective, the Legacy Run crash was a small portion of the whole incident and leads to even bigger ones. The people sent to attempt to save the Fruited Moon were Jedi Teami, Mikkel Sutmani, Nib Asset, and her Padawan Buryaga Agaburi. Alongside the Jedi was Joss and Pika, who we met in the last short story. Buryaga sensed the object they were about to destroy was part of a ship with people still inside. It was debris from somewhere. Chapter 8. Aguirre City, Hetzal Prime. 65 minutes to impact. The Third Horizon landed at the Minister's Place on Hetzal Prime to work with the government on Hetzal. Avar, with a message from Teami, knows that the objects endangering the Hetzal system also contain people that need to be saved, making their mission that much more difficult. Admiral Kronara, who is on board the Third Horizon, had a call with Chancellor Lena So. So is sending aid ships from Coruscant. Other Jedi are on their way to the Hetzal system to help, including Jorah Malley. Avar sensed a long beam explode on its way to board a station. This likely means Bright, Inman, and Peoples have died trying to save those on board. Chapter 9. Hetzal Prime. 60 minutes to impact. Loden convinced the guards to let the crowd have access to the ship. Then some armed speeders began attacking the compound. Loden and Bell now turned to fight with the guards to defend the group of unarmed civilians being attacked. Chapter 10. Hetzal System, Above the Fruited Moon. 50 minutes to impact. Joss came up with a plan to shoot cables at the object and attempt to stop the object that way. He told Teami the Jedi are going to assist however they can. Chapter 11. Hetzal System, Interplanetary Space. 40 minutes to impact. 4 of the evacuation ships were hit while in atmosphere. Another object hit the ocean on Hetzal Prime, causing a tsunami, killing a couple thousand people. Chapter 12. Solar Array 22X, Republic Long Beam Aurora 9. 35 minutes to impact. Captain Bright and his crew were not the ship that was blown up a couple of chapters ago. They have made it to the solar array and boarded. The 3 men split up. So far, they have found 3 survivors. The reactor is unstable, limiting their time able to search. Chapter 13. Hetzal Prime. 30 minutes to impact. While Bell and Loden were fighting the attackers, the guards also began firing upon the 2 Jedi. After Bell and Loden defeated the attackers with a great show of force from Loden, he burst the door open under the guards. After a moment, the guards put their weapons down as well. Chapter 14. The Third Horizon. 25 minutes to impact. There is a large object headed for one of the suns, holding liquid Tabana. The sun is an R class. From Kronara's reaction to the news, if they collide, very bad things will happen in this system. Chapter 15. Hetzal System, Above the Fruited Moon. 20 minutes to impact. Joss's plan had worked. With help from the 4 Jedi, they stopped the object with passengers headed for the moon. Chapter 16. Solar Array 22X. 10 minutes to impact. The crew of Aurora 9 were able to rescue those on the solar array. However, for Aurora 9 to get away safely, someone had to be constantly cooling the reactor. Captain Bright took Inman's place and stayed behind as the solar array exploded. Inhuman peoples and the crew of the solar array were safely detached from the station when it exploded. They received an order from the Third Horizon to leave the system and stop any rescue missions immediately. Chapter 17, Hetzal Prime, the Third Horizon. 4 minutes to impact. Avar stayed on Hetzal Prime while the Third Horizon evacuated with as many refugees as it could hold. All of the Jedi in the system, including other powerful Jedi from outside the system, like Master Yoda, combined efforts through the Force to change the trajectory of the liquid Tabana so it would not hit the sun. Multiple Jedi died from the strain, causing them to fall to their death or crash their vectors, the spacecraft used by the Jedi. Tar was broadcasting what was going on to So's office. Since this could have been the last minutes of his home planet's life and all those living on it, he opened the transmission to anyone in the galaxy who would look. The entire galaxy looked on and saw what the Jedi did to save the system, and there was jubilation. Chapter 18. More fragments of the Legacy Run came out of hyperspace in the Ab Dalis system. Only one of the fragments hit anything. It hit the most populated planet, full of city-sized factories, killing 20 million people. This was called the First Emergence. Interlude, the Nihil. A company owned by Lawrence Gorello on Ab Dalis evacuated the planet in a convoy of 6 transport ships. Their convoy was attacked by the Nihil at the edge of the system. One ship was torn apart, sending pieces of the ship flying throughout the system. Another exploded. The lead ship with Gorello on it, captained by Odaba, was boarded by the Nihil. They gassed the bridge, knocking everyone out. So far, I've really enjoyed this book. There's so many characters to contend with in part 1. I'm guessing since all the disasters already happened, it might settle down a little bit and it'll focus in more on a chunk of those characters. But so far, it's been a really enjoyable book, and I want to thank everyone so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you join me for part 2.